I just saw the 2:30 premiere of Fantastic Four First Steps. Let's talk about it. I'm going to start this video off with ecstatically saying that I freaking loved this movie. Is Marvel fatigue over? Going to answer the question in the thumbnail already? Yes. I've been so out of my mind bored with Marvel for like, how long has it been since Endgame? I've been super bored with Marvel ever since then. Have I continued to watch every project they've done because I don't want to like confuse myself or get lost in the story? Yes. Is it like homework? Yes. It sucks. The only thing I haven't watched, okay, so I stand corrected. I haven't watched Miss Marvel because I didn't care, and I haven't watched Ironheart because I heard it was god awful and I also didn't care. Those are the only two Marvel projects I have not seen since Endgame. That's just the context. All that aside, this movie is freaking amazing. And I'm going to start by saying I literally had one gripe with the entire film, and it had nothing to do with the film. It was about the experience of the film. So, like, they bring you in the theater, you have your trailers or whatever. I was at an AMC theater, so if you guys know AMC theaters, you know exactly their layout for trailers and everything. There's like 30 minutes of trailers in the film. So you get through, like, literally all of the trailers. You get to Nicole Kidman doing her "heartbreak feels good in a place like this" speech. And then, like, normally you go right into the movie after that, right? Right. You see Nicole Kidman, you go to the countdown, you're in the movie. They do Nicole Kidman, you think the trailers are over, and then bam, there's the Avatar Fire and Ash trailer out of nowhere. And man, I gotta say, that's like my most anticipated movie probably ever, or at least since Way of Water was announced. And so I was like, so the movie like immediately had me screwed up because I was all hyped up from that train. And then right after that, it takes you into the countdown. But the countdown was so good. The countdown, the 10-second countdown to start this film was incredible. It was themed around Fantastic Four. And it had like different music. It had the characters involved in the screens. The countdown was like hype music, essentially, to this movie. And it was crazy good. And then the movie opens up with Sue finding out she's pregnant and telling Reed that she's pregnant. Oh, and by the way, spoilers ahead. There's going to be many spoilers. That's not a spoiler, though, because it's literally the first 2 seconds of the film. Anyway, if you don't like spoilers, don't watch. Sorry. But, yeah, so Reed and Sue find out they're pregnant, and then you cut to that scene that you've seen in the trailers like 100 times where Johnny and Ben are at the dinner table being like, they're late, they're not here yet. Johnny's chucking in some Lucky Charms. Reed and Sue show up. Ben's like, you're pregnant? And Sue's like, we are. And they all hug, and then yada, yada, yada. The rest is history. And, like, the whole, like, first 30 minutes of the film is all essentially set up. It's all showing you, like, where the Fantastic Four has been, what they've been doing, setting up that, like, Mole Man has a place called Subterraria underneath the city, and that's a whole different thing, and, like, they've become leaders in civilization. Like, Sue is basically, I don't know if she's a leader, but she's like a representative to this version of the UN because it all takes place in a different universe with like a 1960s future aesthetic, which is so good. But anyway, Sue is like some crazy political figure now, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That was totally fine. And like they pan over the audience and like show you all the countries that are represented, and like right off the bat, Latveria's there, but there's no representative. Latveria's empty. Ooh, that was a hint for something, I'm sure. If you want more spoilers on that too, make sure to stick around to the end of the video because there's a much bigger thing that happened later on, kind of in relation to that. So if you're tickled, stick around. But things are just setting up. They're establishing this universe. They're establishing the way things work. The world is basically obsessed with Fantastic Four. There's Fantastic Four merchandise everywhere. Kids watch Fantastic Four TV shows. The Fantastic Four are just this incredibly wholesome group of heroes that the world adores. And that's amazing. It's literally so perfect. I can't explain to you how incredibly unreal it felt because, you know, 2025 America doesn't feel like that. We don't get like that for anybody. The world doesn't unite on their love for anything. It doesn't happen. It's not real. And that was amazing. It was perfect because it took you out of your current existence and brought you someplace else like a fantasy superhero film should do. Crazy concept. Yeah, so it basically is all a bunch of setup until you get to the Silver Surfer showing up. They're all standing on the balcony, looking over the city as the cops fly by because they're curious what the cops are doing because the cops drive flying cars, which is another futuristic, crazy aesthetic that was amazing. And Reed's like, I've been following a small group of criminal syndicates. And Ben's like, what's small, Reed? And he's like, 47. And he like points out in different parts of the city where all the cops are going. He's like, it's this group here, this group here, this group here. And like while they're doing that, the sky lights on fire essentially. It gets all red and like meteors start coming down. The Silver Surfer shows up and they all fly to Times Square where she does the I herald his beginning, I herald your end, I herald Galactus speech, which was incredibly cool. She flies off after that. Johnny pursues her as fast as he can, gets to space, catches her board. She whispers some sweet nothings, which we don't know what she's saying. She tickles his fancy by saying some strange alien words in his face. And then he flies back down to Earth, or gets thrown kind of. She like flips the board and flies off to space incredibly fast. And he just kind of falls back down and, you know, goes back and tries to tell them all what happened. And none of them really care because he's Johnny.
And Johnny thinks they had a moment.
Okay.
None of them really want to listen to Johnny because they all want to figure out what the heck's going on with the Silver Surfer. And they find a way to track her, essentially. They see that, like, all the planets... Reed has, like, tracked all these planets that have mysteriously exploded or disappeared. And her signature, her energy signature, was a match for all of those planets that he had been tracking. And he had like these weird audio recordings from all of those planets as well. I'm not really sure how he got those because it's escaping my memory right now. If they explained it, it was pretty scientific and I didn't follow along with it. But they have all these crazy recordings from space from all these planets that have exploded. They can't understand any of them. But Johnny figures out that some of the recordings sound like the words that were said by the Silver Surfer to him when he was grabbing onto her board or whatever. And that tickles his fancy even more and makes him even more intrigued. But again, no one cares because they just want to get to the Silver Surfer and figure out where she's going and what a Galactus even is. So they get in their spaceship. They find a way to track her. They fly off to space. The world says goodbye, expecting them to save them and kill Galactus and come back and everything's hunky-dory and everything's fine. They go to space. They're gone for like over a month, but things get crazy. They find the Silver Surfer's signature, and it's like inside a planet. They're completely confused by it. They're like, her signature isn't on the surface of the planet. It's not like on the outside of the planet. It's in the planet. Like it's in the core of the planet. And then like while they're trying to figure out where she is and what the heck the deal with that is, Galactus's ship comes like spiraling out of the inside of the planet and the planet like disintegrates. Sue turns the ship invisible. They try to fly around stealthily in Galactus's ship to figure out a way inside. Galactus sees them, tractor beams them into his ship, and then they stumble across Silver Surfer, who says, you shouldn't have come here. And she leads them to Galactus's throne. And so scary, man. The whole freaking setup of Galactus was terrifying. He is just a scary dude. He's humongous. And he like comes out of this fog and he's way bigger than they could have ever imagined. He gives them a whole speech. They're asking if there's a way to save their planet. And he tells them there is a way. He wants Sue's baby. Because cosmic energy was what turned the Fantastic Four into the Fantastic Four. Reed and Sue giving birth to a child or having a child, their cosmic energy all transferred to him. And so he is a purely cosmic being, Franklin Richards. And Galactus says he wants the baby because Galactus wants essentially to die. He is endlessly hungry because of what he is. He can't stop devouring worlds because it causes him physical pain because of his hunger. And so Franklin Richards is like the only one that can save him from his pain. So he wants Franklin. He will let the Earth live if they just give him their baby. They refuse. They run off. It gets really intimidating and scary because Galactus kind of tries to get them and the Surfer tries to get them, and there's this whole fight while they're like panicking, frantically trying to get out. Johnny runs out of oxygen. Yeah, and Sue's literally in labor at the time because Galactus did some weird thing with his eyes and like beamed on her belly, and then she went into labor immediately, which was a whole weird thing. I don't know what the heck that was, but Galactus made her go into labor. So Reed's trying to carry her back to the ship, which is pretty freaking far away. Ben has to pick up Johnny because Johnny used up all his oxygen while he was flamed on, essentially. And so they're in like this crazy panic mode trying to get back to the ship so they can survive. They get to the ship. They start racing out of the ship so they can get back to their faster than light, their FTL connector thing to their ship, which is the whole thing. You'll know what I'm talking about if you see the movie. They connect to this thing that allows them to travel faster than, and they're trying to get to that, and Silver Surfer's literally on their butts trying to get to them. They connect to the FTL. They start going, but like right before they go, Silver Surfer like goes in their ship and like puts her hand inside Sue's belly. And it was like, what the heck's going on? And then the ship like darts off and Silver Surfer gets left in the dust. And I think they're safe. They think because they're traveling faster than light, there's no issue. Nothing's going to happen. They can't possibly get got here. But then Silver Surfer starts flying behind them, going faster than light on her surfboard. And they like freak the heck out because what the heck, man? She's flying faster than light on a little surfboard? Crazy. It was so freaking intense. And the music is just like going off because it's fear, it's anxiety, and you felt it with the way the music was, and like the whole experience was exhilarating, and you're just sitting there like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And I mean, they just did it so perfectly. It was crazy. And they essentially find a way to get rid of the Silver Surfer after a lot of freaking stress and anxiety. They go to a black hole. They trick the Silver Surfer basically into flying into the black hole, which she has a really hard time escaping from, by the way, because she has to freaking get out of there. And Reed determines with math that it's going to take her at least a month to escape the black hole. And they use that as a chance to fully get away from her. They get back to Earth. All the people are like, so you killed Galactus, you defeated Galactus, the Earth is safe, we're all safe, everything's fine. And Reed has to let them know that the price was too high. We've seen that in the trailer before as well, where Reed's talking to them on that little press stand in his spacesuit. And the guy goes, are we safe? And he goes, I don't know. You know what I mean? You've seen that part in the trailer. You've seen it before. And the people kind of turn on them at that point, because the people think that if the price is just giving up a baby, then give up the baby and the Earth is saved. Like, there's no question there. Sacrificing one life for the life of millions or billions even, like, do it. And everyone turns on the Fantastic Four. It becomes this whole thing, and yada yada yada. They're all stressed about it, and it causes them a lot of anxiety and whatever, because Reed starts to think about it, and Sue starts to hate him for it, and it becomes this whole like tension in the middle of the movie, trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And eventually that kind of gets resolved because Sue like steps out with Franklin and introduces the world to Franklin and gives the world this whole big speech about family and sticking together, and the world loves them again at that point. The world finally accepts that that's not an okay price to pay. They're not gonna allow them to give up their baby, and it's like, okay, all right. The people finally calm down. They got it. Great. Now we can move on. And Reed comes up with a plan. He finally figures it out. And he, like, at some point in the movie was, like, trying to figure out how to teleport things, how to teleport an egg. He decides that the best way to do everything is to move the entire Earth. They're going to teleport the entire Earth to a different sun. That way Galactus will not be able to find them for hopefully another couple million years. That's his goal. So they frantically gather up resources and put these teleportation towers all over the entire planet's surface, and they think the plan's working. They unite the entire world with this plan, and they start to teleport the entire Earth away. And then Silver Surfer shows up and starts single-handedly just going by and destroying every single one of these teleporters. She gets to every single one of them except for the one in Times Square, New York, where she is stopped by Johnny. Now we're going to go back to Johnny being tickled by her weird little message to him on the surfboard. He uses the Rosetta Stone and a recording from, they had all the recordings of those civilizations, all the planets that are being destroyed or whatever. And he uses the language. Oh, I guess I should also say, when they're in Galactus' ship beforehand, Johnny's like flying beside Silver Surfer and like kind of flirting with her a little bit. And he asks her like what she said to him, and she interprets it. So now he kind of has a key for the language on what that phrase meant. That's how he's able to use the Rosetta Stone to decipher the rest of her language and decipher what all those planets said. And he stops the Silver Surfer in her tracks in Times Square by speaking her language. He literally speaks to her. And in that moment, Reed, Sue, and Ben are all just like shook. They're like, what the heck? He can barely speak regular English, and now he's speaking an alien language and figured this out. And he blows their minds with that. And Johnny gives this whole speech to her about how like he plays all the sounds of all the different civilizations crying out to basically ask her to stop. Like they captured all the cries and screams for help as the planets were dying, and he plays all those on repeat for Silver Surfer, and she hears all of them and she kind of breaks down. But he also has a recording from her planet where they're literally saying thank you, Shalla-Bal, for saving them. Like her planet's recording is different from all the other recordings because they're thanking her. Her becoming a herald of Galactus prevented her planet from being doomed. And so her message, her planet's message to her was thank you. And that was also a big break for her. So Silver Surfer like freaks out and she has an emotional moment. She just flies away. And Johnny pursues her again, and they have this moment in the clouds where they're talking and they have a little heart to heart. And Silver Surfer eventually flies away again, basically still confirming that there's no way around giving Galactus the baby. The baby's the only way the planet can be saved. And then she flies off, and Johnny's still crushed and devastated because that just doesn't work for any of them. It doesn't work for any of them at all. Giving up a baby to save the planet is too high a price. And then they figure out with their last standing teleporter, the only way now to save the Earth is to get Galactus out of his ship, to get him on the planet's surface, bring him to Times Square, and throw him in the teleporter. That way he is transported out in the middle of space, billions and billions of light years away. That way he can't get back for billions of years or whatever. So they find a way to do it. I'm not even really sure how they got him to come down to Earth besides Franklin. They know he really wants Franklin, so they use Franklin as bait to get him to come out of his ship and jump on the shore. And they got all the people evacuated in New York City down to Subterraria, where they'd be safe from Galactus's broad shoulders and big feet. And they basically have this like battle with Galactus where they're trying to stop him from getting to Franklin. Johnny can't do anything to him, can't even damage him. Ben can't do anything to him, can't even damage him. He stretches the crap out of Reed and almost kills him, and Reed can't do anything to him. And Sue saves the day. Sue Storm. He was able to get Franklin before, though. So he like goes up to the Baxter building, he grabs the baby, takes the baby, and he's walking back to his ship. And Sue uses all of her psionic force field powers, or whatever you want to call it, and like pushes him with literally all of her power. Like she's literally straining more than you can imagine to like shove him in the direction of the teleporter. Reed tells her to stop because he knows that it's dangerous for her to use that much for power, and it's not a good thing at all. It will literally hurt her. But she continues to go because she's the only one possible, or only one capable of moving him even slightly. Like the rest of them failed dramatically at budging him. And so Sue pushes him all the way to Times Square. She pushes him all the way in and gets him into the portal. And Reed goes up and saves Franklin really quick. He zips up there with his flexibility and grabs him and saves him. And they push him into this kind of what looks like a black hole, but it's the teleporter, and sends him to a different part of the universe, you think. And as soon as Sue gets him in there and sees that he's in there, she collapses. She falls to the ground, lifeless. Totally lifeless. She is just out. And they all go over and they're all worried about her. And then Galactus like steps back out of the teleporter right before it's about to close. He grabs the thing and steps back out. and Johnny's about to sacrifice himself. He flies up and he says, tell Franklin his uncle loves him, and he flies towards Galactus at full speed. And then out of nowhere, Silver Surfer makes her return, comes in and hits Johnny with the surfboard and completely knocks him out of his target path, and like he's totally thrown. Silver Surfer sacrifices herself and flies full speed into Galactus and knocks him back into the thing. They both disappear in the teleporter. They're both gone. And then they all kind of have like this shocked moment, and then they turn back to Sue and go back to Sue, and Sue is dead. Sue Storm literally dies in this, and it was devastating. It was gut-wrenching. It was horrifying. But she literally just collapses on the ground dead, gone. She's over. And it was incredibly hard to watch. And even Franklin has this emotional moment where he sees his mom dead on the ground and he starts crying like crazy. Reed puts Franklin on her chest, and Franklin kind of crawls up to her, and they have this moment. And Franklin brings her back to life. Like, Reed was doing CPR on her like crazy, mouth to mouth, trying to get her to come back, and he couldn't do anything. But Franklin, with his cosmic powers, literally revives Sue Storm and brings her back to life, and it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. You just have to see it. This whole movie is one of those movies you just have to see. It's crazy good. And the movie kind of just ends from there. Like, they go to the talk show at the end, and there's this funny moment where they're trying to like put the car seat in. All the guys trying to put the car seat in, and none of them can put the car seat in. They have this whole argument, and it's hilarious. Genuinely the funniest moment in the entire film, and it's right at the end. It kind of just ends after that. But overall, this whole movie was just amazing. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say that Marvel overuses comedy to a gross extent.
Astrid, your father gave you a very tough Viking name, and I intend to honor his wishes.
Axel.
Astrid.
I said Axel.
Astrid.
Axel!
It's asshole. Now listen to him.
Fine. Axel.
Like, they never allow anything to be serious. They never allow like these deep emotional moments to really happen, because in the middle or the end of these emotional moments where they're like peaking with emotion, they throw in a joke and it kind of ruins the whole thing. That's typical Marvel these days. This movie didn't have that at all. There was barely any comedy in this movie at all, honestly. It was mostly just a serious film. And any comedy that was in it did not do a disservice to the story, didn't take you out of it, didn't like it felt so real. It didn't feel like throwing it in there for the audience. It felt like real human, like I'm trying to make my friend laugh kind of a moment, instead of forced comedy. And it was incredible. It was very refreshing. It felt very grounded and real in that way. But again, the world was so fantastic. The world was so out there. It really brings you in. The music was incredible. It really made you feel everything that they were feeling in the moments where you feel something. And it was beyond incredible. CGI was perfection. It was literally great. I don't know. I just don't have anything bad to say about the entire movie. Like, I've been wrapping my brain around it for the past 24 hours. Because I'm filming this on Friday, the day after, I've been trying to think of literally anything bad I could say about this movie. And like, I don't have anything. I've rarely ever had a film, especially a superhero film, that I've watched where at the end of it was like, I don't have anything bad to say about it. Like, normally I can think of several things I didn't like or didn't care for. Didn't experience that in this movie at all. And I'm honestly blown by that. Like, my mind is completely like freaked out by that. Like, I can't comprehend the fact that I watched a film that I didn't have a problem with. It's crazy. So yeah, that's Fantastic Four. It's an incredible movie. It's genuinely amazing. You should 100% go watch it. There's an after credits scene that is, I'll talk about it real quick. It's 4 years later, and Sue and Franklin are sitting there reading a book. He's dissatisfied with the book they're reading, so she gets up and goes to a different room, grab him his favorite book. She comes back, and she doesn't see him on the couch because there's like this fireplace in the middle of their room that comes down from the ceiling, and it's big and crazy and weird looking. And like, she kind of weirds out, and she turns around, like she walks around the fireplace, and there's a character kneeled down on the ground interacting with Franklin. It's Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is sitting there, kneeled down on the ground. All you see is his hood, and he's holding his mask in his other hand. He's got like one hand on Franklin. He's holding his mask in the other hand. And Sue like goes, and then it's over. And you just see Doctor Doom for a brief 30 seconds, not even. I mean, probably like more like 5 seconds. It's so brief. It's so freaking brief. But you see Doctor Doom for the first time in the MCU, and it's not a full profile. You don't fully know what he's gonna look like, but you see his mask, you see his cloak. When I tell you, like, the audience in the theater, like, literally got out of their seats screaming, the only time I've ever experienced anything like that in a film, ever. I've seen so many films, but I mean, the guy behind me and my wife was like, yeah! I kid you not, the reactions were the most insane things I've ever heard or seen in my entire life. The reaction to Doctor Doom being in this film, even for a brief 5-second cameo, was nuts. So if you're excited for Fantastic Four, or if you're hesitant on Fantastic Four, don't be. This is a movie I would 10 out of 10 recommend seeing in the theater, especially IMAX. IMAX enhances it. And again, it's your money. You can decide how you want to see it, but IMAX just enhances the experience that much more and kind of allows you to go there that much more, if you know what I mean. If you've been an IMAX film before, I'm sure you're sold on the experience just like me. Don't wait for streaming. Go see it now while you can in the theater and just have a great time, because I promise you right now you will. And if you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you. There's nothing political in this movie. There's nothing woke in this movie. There's nothing crazy about this movie at all. It's just a dang good superhero. And there is not a single movie in 2025 or 2024 that I can genuinely say that I went to and I didn't feel any political agenda being forced down my throat. I didn't feel any 2025 ethics or morality being forced down my throat. It was just its own thing, and it was allowed to exist in its own universe, and it was just incredible. It was a superhero movie, gosh darn it, and that's all that it was. And it was perfect. 10 out of 10 movie. 10 out of 10. I can't. IGN 7 out of 10 or whatever they gave it. Frick them, man. They're stupid for saying that. Or 8 out of 10. Whatever they gave it, it was wrong. It's a 10 out of 10 movie. I think they ranked Superman higher than this movie. Bull crap and stupid. This is the superhero movie of the summer. This is the best Marvel movie probably ever in my books. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Literally can't wait to watch it again, and you guys are gonna love it. So go see it, check it out. Let me know your thoughts below. If you've already seen it, please comment. Let's nerd out about this movie. If you disliked it, I can't imagine we're gonna have much to say to each other, but definitely still at least drop your comment. Let me know your reasonings. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Yeah, guys. With all that being said, I'll catch you in the next thing, whatever it may be. Until then, though, peace.